Film Fanatics. From the silver screen to your earphones with Alan Azulay and Gal Balaban.
Welcome back to Film Fanatics, where we talk about all the movies that keep us obsessed, excited, and inspired. And I'm Gal.
And I'm Alan. And today we're talking about one of the most beloved animated movie series of all time, the Shrek series.
It's going to be a fantastic retrospective of movies as we look at the franchise starting from 2001 up until the most recent Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I think you can call it a Shrek-tacular Shrek-trospective.
Smooth, man. Very smooth.
All right, joining us on the podcast, this man hails all the way from Toronto, Canada. You may know him from the League of Cinephiles and First Reviews. Let's welcome James to the podcast.
Hello, gentlemen. Hey, Gal. Hey, Alan. Good to meet you guys. Happy to be on. Can't wait to
have you, man.
Shrek.
How's it going?
Good. How you guys been?
Good. Can't complain.
We're talking about a lovely franchise of movies that have had their share of cultural impact and, stuck with memes and fans, etc., all the way till now. But they are like genuine quality movies, and we're excited to talk about them.
For sure. Before that, remember to check out all of our socials here. You can check out James in First Reviews. And remember to, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment about, what's your favorite Shrek movie, I guess. And let's start with what started it all for DreamWorks, for Shrek, for, I guess, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the guy got kicked out of Disney in the 2000s. It's Shrek from 2002.
2001.
No, it's 2002, no?
It's definitely 01.
It's 01? Okay, so Alan got it wrong in the graphics. So let's start with James. James, you're our dear guest today. So what are your thoughts generally about Shrek 1?
Yeah, Shrek, the original movie there. Honestly, one of my favorite movies. It's just like one of the most perfect movies, I think. It has a little bit of everything. It's funny. It's got a good story. It's a little bit dramatic. The acting, the voice acting is obviously incredible. Mike Myers is an absolute genius. Eddie Murphy as Donkey. Like, you can't beat those two as a combo. And just like the whole thing's just like entertaining through and through, and like the way it like makes fun of the fairy tales and stuff like that. I just love it. Like, I could watch it anytime.
Yeah, I hadn't watched it in such a long time, and I was so happy. I did like a whole Shrek-a-thon. I don't know why I said that, but before this episode, and it was so fun. And again, I haven't watched it in years, and watching the first one really got me going to like watch the other ones because it was so good. And I think Shrek, definitely not the first, but one of like the first big animated movies that like came out when I was a kid. And it really was probably one of the movies that made me fall in love with movies as a young child. And just the classic hero and the princess story, but like turned on its head, kind of like the anti-Disney at that time, kind of. It was always great.
Yeah, because ogres have layers. They're like onions.
They're like onions.
Ogres are like onions. Oh my god, I love doing the Shrek voice. I watched these movies so much growing up, including the first one. This, I think, by critics and fans, etc., it's considered to be one of the best animated movies of all time. And it was the first ever movie to win that Oscar for animated feature when they created the category. Not to mention, I think it was the BAFTAs where Eddie Murphy was the only one to get nominated for an acting award for a voice performance ever for playing Donkey in this movie.
That's insane.
Kind of deserves it though. Like he's just so great. And watching it back when you're a little older, when I rewatched it, it's still like the story is so clever and all the characters, the way they created like a cinematic universe with all the storybook fairy tale characters, but Shrek is the center. And like there's a scene that I love where they get to Duloc, I think is the kingdom from the first movie, and there's a whole "Welcome to Duloc" song, and there's this part in the song where they go, "Shine your shoes, wipe your face," Even though like
So good.
even though the lyric is supposed to rhyme with "but," they don't say the or "ass" even, and they don't say the word. Like there's a lot of hidden adult jokes in the movie. In the soundtrack, by the way, they have a lot of modern music in the first track, in most of them, I think. And it's always so good.
Yeah. Something that was a little bit weird for me is that like I watched all these movies dubbed in Portuguese when I was a kid because I didn't know English. So watching them for the first time in English was really a weird experience in the best way. Mike Myers, like I said, he's fantastic, and Eddie Murphy as the donkey is insane. But I want to shout out John Lithgow as
Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad.
Never forget that name.
My God, he's so funny in this. So good.
Want to hear something funny? Actually, a couple of days ago, I was watching Terms of Endearment, and John Lithgow's in this movie, and my brother sits in for a sec, and I'm like, this is the only thing he'll understand. I point to John Lithgow and say, Amit, that's my brother's name. This is the guy who voiced Lord Farquaad, and he's like, really? And so that's just
So
a funny moment. Yeah, he's
I love John Lithgow. He's so funny. He's so over the top, but it's perfect. Like it works. It works perfectly, especially for Shrek, where like you have Eddie Murphy's over the top, and then Shrek, and then Mike Myers as Shrek is just like really giving it us all. So it was like just the perfect combo of having all of them. And I was just watching with John Lithgow. I don't know if you guys ever watched Third Rock from the Sun, but he's in that the TV show. Oh man,
I've watched like a couple of episodes. He's so funny.
He's so over the top in that show. He literally puts the show on his back for however many seasons it's there.
Have you guys seen the Shrek 3D short film where it's like the ghost of Lord Farquaad is coming back to abduct Fiona? They had it in Universal Studios for years. It's like a 10-minute short film.
I remember seeing it a long time ago. I haven't seen it in like since I was younger.
It's where the meme where Shrek says to Donkey, "Can you be quiet for 5 minutes?" comes from.
Yeah.
It's like
I
from the
think I
opening.
saw
of it.
that at Universal when I was a
Yeah.
kid, maybe.
But I also love the part where like Fiona's doing her singing and she just blows up the bird. And they just
That
like walk
killed
past
me as a
it.
kid.
That was in that one. Okay, yeah.
It's in the first Shrek.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure, first one, yeah.
Yeah, that killed me as a kid. That joke I think was my favorite joke as a kid. That and the butt thing definitely in the top.
Shine your shoes, wipe your face.
Great. So James, what we do around here is once we're done talking about a movie, we'll give it a score. So do you want to start us off with what's your score for Shrek?
Yeah, honestly, like the first Shrek, I'd basically give it like a 10 out of 10. It's like a perfect movie to me. Like, especially perfect for like an animation movie. It has everything you want, right? Like we were saying, the soundtrack's amazing. Like the songs that they do themselves, like when Eddie Murphy's singing at the end, or like even throughout, like they're honestly perfect. It's so good. Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Yeah, when he sings that, that's like the ultimate ending to a movie. Like you can't beat that movie. So 10 out of 10.
I think they do that in a lot of DreamWorks movies lately, where just all the main characters start dancing at the end for no reason. Like if you watch Megamind, and he dances to "I'm Bad" by Michael Jackson. Like they just do that in all the DreamWorks stuff now.
Trying to copy that formula, but nothing's as good as like that. It feels like it's like forced a lot more times now.
So I guess I'll go with mine now. I don't put it as a 10 just because it's not better than some movies in this franchise, which we'll get to. So for me, it's an 8.5. But it's a really, really solid animated movie. It's the one that started it all with Shrek, with DreamWorks. And I'm so happy I got to see it again.
Yeah, I'm going to say either 8.5 or 9. I don't know. Like now that we're talking about it, I think maybe 9, but I'm not sure. One more thing I do want to add before we move on is, have you guys ever watched Shrek the Musical? Where they do like a stage musical of it. Now, I once watched the DVD of it, and then they did it once in Israel here in Hebrew.
Oh
and
my God,
and now they do it in like high schools everywhere too. So yeah, that's also a cultural impact that Shrek made. It's as good as a Shrek musical can be. Like it's fun.
The only thing I know about that is that the dude that played the dad in 13 Reasons Why was Shrek on Broadway.
Oh really?
Yeah.
The dad of who?
Of the main girl and of the girl that suicides.
Oh, Brian Darcy. Yeah, I knew that actually. That he was Shrek. Okay. Brian Darcy James.
Okay, so let's get to what's considered the best one for a lot of people. Shrek 2. Shrek 2 came out in 2004. Am I right about this one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Came out in 2004, and it's a straight up sequel. It picks up right in the second that Shrek 1 leaves off with Shrek and Fiona. It seems like they were going on their honeymoon, but actually they're going to visit their Shrek's in-laws. A bit of meet the in-laws situation.
Meet the parents.
Meet the
Robert
parents.
De Niro and Ben Stiller.
Situation, but weirder. With ogres and stuff like that.
And stuff like that.
So Gal, let's start with you. What's your thoughts about Shrek 2?
I mean, you said it earlier. This is my favorite one. Yeah, oh my God. I've seen this one so many times, and I think it's priceless. First of all, the soundtrack, incredible.
So good.
They had like when he turns human and then they like arrest him, they have like a really dramatic cover of David Bowie's Changes. Or there was one that they like wrote for this movie that got nominated like at the beginning for an Oscar, like something Accidentally in Love, something like that. It was an original song. First of all, the soundtrack was amazing.
That was an original song? What?
Something like that.
I thought that was a song that they just took.
But then
It's such a good song.
they added Puss to the franchise. They added
Played
Prince
beautifully
Charming.
by Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
We'll get more to him later.
And we have the in-laws played by John Cleese and Julie Andrews, two absolute legends, and Rupert Everett as the prince. But I got to shout out Jennifer Saunders as the fairy godmother, who is Prince Charming's mom. Wow, she's insane. She
haunted my nightmares as a child.
She was such a good villain. Because also, you would never expect the fairy godmother to be evil before you met the creators of Shrek. Like, imagine what got into their room. Like, all right, how do we top Lord Farquaad? The fairy godmother.
See, that's what I was talking about, like, in the first one. These guys know how to take, like, our beloved... I said Disney before, but I guess our beloved, like, stories and turn it on their heads in a way that you didn't imagine that you would love, and you love it no matter what. Yeah,
honestly,
so
though,
good.
when Donkey gets turned into a stallion and Shrek turns into a human, that's what haunted my dreams. Like, that shit, I was like, how could you do that? But yeah, love Shrek 2.
Two's really good. Even just like the whole like far, far away, and like all the like OG fairy tales, like the biggest fairy tales. They all have like mansions there. It's like the whole Hollywood themed like city, and it's like, you know, capitalistic kind of in a way. I thought that was just,
They got like
funny.
Joan Rivers to
Cinderella has,
cameo.
like, the palace, Snow White, like all of them.
And it's so fun. It's like I don't know if you guys have walked, like, I don't. You guys probably been to LA. Like when you walk like through Beverly Hills, it's like they did like something similar to like the street signs and everything. And it's so funny because it's such like a high level. Like why is this in a kids movie? But I love it.
I think that's part of what makes the first two so great, is that they're actually really in touch with modern pop culture, even though they take place in like the 1000s or whatever. Like no other, if this was a Disney movie, they wouldn't even dare to put in like rock music, but they're like, whatever, man. Shrek is
And
Shrek.
it works.
They make it fun for everybody, right? It was perfect. And all the songs they choose, all the songs, whether original or whether, you know, taken from pop culture itself, like perfect. It fits. It always feels like it fits perfectly. And I think that's what makes like those two movies so great as well.
Yeah, for sure. And something that we didn't talk about that much about Shrek 1, I have to shout out Cameron Diaz. I know she doesn't do a lot of stuff anymore.
She's
but
like
she,
retired.
Yeah, she's semi-retired, I guess. But I think Fiona's like one of her defining roles. Like, she is perfect as Fiona. She kind of disappears into the role. You kind of forget that's Cameron Diaz for a while, like when you're watching it. If you don't know it's Cameron Diaz, I think maybe we don't even notice that it's her, because it's such an understated performance, which is weird to say about like an ogre princess.
I mean, I think back then she was like much bigger because she had done Being John Malkovich and Gangs of New York at the same time. And then I think after Annie, she like straight up retired. Now she's kind of coming back. I don't really know what's up, but she's great as Fiona. There's also one other scene that I love in this movie, which is where they're all having dinner, and
so
they're
good.
pulling the pig, and they all say each other's names. It's like Harold, Fiona, Shrek, and then Donkey just says his own name, Donkey.
It's so funny. And I think that's the like the high point in the whole meet the parents situation. and like that's why that scene works like so well. The disturbing like undertones of the dad actually being a frog, like that's so crazy. Like you're always thinking that he hates Shrek because he's not human, which is very disturbing when you think about like the fact that this is like a fairy tale
guess
land
who's
and
coming
humans
to dinner?
are not the only
Get
thing.
out.
Yeah, it seems kind of Get Outish.
It's the Shrek Get Out. It's the fairy
And,
tale Get Out.
But then you figure out that he's actually a frog as well, and like it's this whole crazy thing with the fairy godmother. Like such a good script. Like I think this might be like the best script in the series because of all of those undertones.
I think like growing up, me and my brothers always loved the part where Gingy turned huge and he like gets a new name. I think it was like Mongo or something. And he like they have to they have to crash the wedding with Holding Out for a Hero being sung by Jennifer
so
Saunders. That's just perfect movie making. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Gingy's like low key one of my favorites. He's so funny. The little scenes he has, absolutely killer.
Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man!
Him and Pinocchio steal all the scenes they're in.
Pinocchio's great too. So funny.
Yeah.
Let's get to our scores for this one. I guess I'll start. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect animated movie.
Oh,
Wow. Myself, I'd probably give it like, I still like Shrek 1 the best just because 1, like, you know, being like the original and like starting it all, I always give it a little more credit that way. 2 is like amazing. I'd probably give it like a 9, like 8.5.
I'd say 9. One last thing. We talked about the ending songs. Livin' La Vida Loca at the end of this movie.
Wow. That's
That
the
was-
best
yeah.
one in the entire series, I think. With,
Those two,
yeah.
With Antonio Banderas singing it. And now I love that song too, and I got to know it from this movie when I was however old.
Yeah. I knew the song before, but I remember, that movie.
Okay, I was like 2 years old when it came out.
Yeah, exactly.
You were 2 when Shrek 2 came out?
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
2004.
Okay, I was 8.
I was 2004. I was 15.
Was it 8?
I'm pretty sure I saw like almost all of them in theaters. I think.
I saw all of them from 3 onward in theaters.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this might have been the first one I saw in theaters. I don't think I watched the first one in theaters. Because I was 4.
You missed the Shrek Renaissance.
I definitely have the DVD of those for sure.
Oh, for sure. I had all of
Which
them.
is rare. But as a kid, that thing would always be on. Always be on.
Oh, yeah. Me and my sister watched that and like Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. They were all like playing in our house like at different times. Like not even the DVDs, like those bulky VHS tapes. Like the green ones. Do you remember that? Those were
I
like...
don't know if I had. I can't remember if I had.
Wait, are we talking about VHSs now?
Yeah.
Like, very briefly in my life, I owned VHSs.
I had like VHS until I was like 8 or 9. And they were
VHS
horrible.
was
You had to like
before your time.
rewind them. It was a whole thing. Okay, let's go to the next one. What some people consider to be the worst, maybe, of the Shrek franchise. It's Shrek the Third. Shrek the Third came out in 2007. Do you want to tell me anything more about this one, Cal? Do you know anything more?
I remember this one.
It's so I remember like Shrek has to turn King Arthur into the king 'cause it's his destiny, and Fiona is expecting.
Oh yeah, that's a big plot point in this movie.
Yeah. So the frog, the king or whatever, is dying or dies, and that dies. Yeah. And he tells him about like Arthur, and then basically Shrek has to go get, Shrek. They wanted Shrek to take over the kingdom, but then Shrek doesn't want to, so he has to go to Arthur and try to convince Arthur to run the kingdom.
King Arthur is voiced by the very talented Justin Timberlake.
That's right. Is the frog's death maybe the funniest death in any animated movie?
He's like,
He takes so long to die. He takes a solid like 10 minutes to die.
it's like Deadpool at the end of Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
It's like, wait,
Exactly. Yeah. Picture the same. I picture like Family Guy always does stuff like that, where they just like draw it out like longer. That's what I kind of pictured. But yeah, that was a funny death.
And I love like Shrek like being like, oh no, he died. Oh, it's so funny, man.
Oh yeah, no, I remember now. Like he and Fiona are like doing something romantic, like in the bedroom, and then a servant comes in, and he's like, "Somebody better to be dying," and it's actually someone dying.
And he's like, "Oh, so
somebody
funny.
better be dying,"
And
I'm dying. He literally says that.
And something that I thought was so cute and I really wanted as a child, and I was heartbroken that I couldn't get, was like half donkey, half dragon babies.
The dronkies
running around my house. I begged my parents, and they were like, "What do you want us to do? That's not something we can do for you. That's not possible."
Oh my god! I think I might have actually had like a plush toy or a McDonald's toy of that when I was
probably
young.
had one of those for sure. But I was like, I wanted those. Like I think I annoyed my parents to death about those creatures.
They were funny. The offspring of donkey and the big dragon.
I mean, we don't want to get into how that
Well,
actually happens.
Oh my god! I'm sure anyone who is aware of the Shrek movies has had this conversation at one point.
Sure.
How do donkey and dragon make it work?
I mean, you could say you can't even say they adopted them because they're half breed. So
It's a new thing.
it's
Yeah.
it's not something that you want to think about. I don't know what my parents told me at the time.
I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about them yet.
Oh, Eddie Murphy just came out last week talking about making a donkey movie instead of a Puss in Boots 3. He literally just said that.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it.
Yeah. Anything with Eddie Murphy, I'll watch any day. So yeah, I'm in.
No, for sure, he's so good.
But 3, big thing about 3, like Justin Timberlake as Arthur. Honestly, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. I watched it again not too long ago, and I didn't like believe him as a good voice actor, and I don't know what it was. It just didn't feel like it fit in like with the other the other voices. Like when you hear them, you're like, it's almost like perfect. Like it feels like that's the character. But with JT, like I don't know. I didn't feel like maybe it was the right choice there. I know he was like big at the time and popular and coming up through like the acting ranks, so kind of makes sense that he was in there. But
I just thought the whole middle portion of the movie for me is so forgettable. Like it's been a while since I've like properly watched it, but I feel like besides like who's the villain, who's the hero, like there isn't much that's that memorable.
With, like Merlin.
Oh, he's so
The
funny.
Merlin stuff was funny.
Who was Merlin?
It was, like,
Oh, it was
crazy
Eric
Merlin.
Idle.
What? Sorry?
Eric Idle was Merlin. So they get the whole Monty Python gang for this franchise.
Yeah. That was a couple of those parts were pretty funny. And he's like this like down and out like wizard who's like a little eccentric and crazy. It's like that was kind of funny, but there was just like small parts and like it didn't really like do so much for the story. They kind of like just kind of jammed a few things in there, and the whole story kind of didn't really flow super seamlessly. There could have been some definitely better pieces of that one. Not nearly as entertaining as the first two. I remember like seeing it. I'm like, it's one of the ones where it's just like you won't pay attention during part of it. Where 1 and 2, you're hooked in, right? Like you can't look away. Like it's fun. It's engaging. It always keeps you like interested in it. But 3 is like.
And Prince Charming as the villain, I think like he did a good job, but he was very much a downgrade.
Yeah, his mom in the second one is so good. But I will say again, like you said, he does a good job, Rupert Everett, and I think he steps up compared to like the previous movie, like his screen presence, as it were, just because he's so non-threatening, but at the same time, like he's a bit of an evil bastard. I think he does a good job with what he has. I want to shout out like some random people that are in this movie that might surprise you guys. I just saw this movie, by the way, like a week and a half ago or something like that.
I think I know one of
on
them. I
on
know
my
the first one you're
Shrek-a-thon.
gonna say.
So Larry King plays Doris. I don't remember
Oh my
hearing
god!
him.
Yeah, he's the old man / lady.
Yeah, he's in the second one too. No,
I thought he was in all of them. No.
I think he's from the second one.
I think the second.
Okay.
One,
Yeah.
because the first one they didn't go to far away. I'm pretty sure
That's right.
Yeah,
from there.
he plays one of the like step sisters of Cinderella, right?
He was in Shrek 2, 3, and 4 apparently.
Okay, someone I did notice was John Krasinski as
See, that's the one I
Lancelot.
knew.
That was really funny. He
That was
was
a small part at the beginning because Lancelot beats Arthur and
He's like bullying him.
jousting or something, right? And then
yeah.
they think Lancelot is Arthur.
Is Arthur, yeah.
That was funny.
And Ian McShane plays Captain Hook,
Ooh.
and Regis Philbin plays Mabel, and Amy Poehler plays Snow White. Like
I think I knew the Amy Poehler one.
all these people are in this movie, and like I had no idea watching it.
And this is like pre Parks and Rec Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
So before she was huge even.
Yeah, so I think we all can, like, I like the ending of this movie where, like, again, it's kind of melodramatic the way that Artie convinces every villain to be good, randomly. But
by a speech, just a speech. They didn't have to do
It
anything.
always works in movies.
exactly.
It does, though, yeah.
But I thought it landed to like a cool scene of like all the villains and everyone like banding together against Prince Charming. I think I like this movie more than most, so I'll wait and I'll give my score the last so I can end it on a high note.
Okay. James, what's your score?
This one, I had a lot of problems with it in general. Even like the music in that one, in the third one, like where we were saying like 1 and 2, like everything feels like really perfect and like made for the movie, or like you think it's original as a soundtrack. With 3, I feel like they're just like shoehorning like so many like I remember watching. There's just like so many rock songs they just throw in there, and like it doesn't. I don't know. It didn't like fit with like the whole mood of like the scene or whatever was going on like at that part of the movie. And like that was one of the things that killed it for me. So like if I had to give it a score for total, I think I would give it like, I don't know, like a 5 or 6 out of 10 max. Like I don't think it's very good.
I would say
Still,
5 out of 10
watchable and it
also.
has a good meaning, but like
Gal, do you realize I was on Letterboxd. Do you know how low your score is for this movie on Letterboxd, Gal?
There's probably something from like I don't remember.
Gal
From
gave it
what
a
years-
1 star on
That's not true.
Letterboxd.
Maybe.
I just saw it. I'm not
It
kidding.
might have been a while ago, and that was probably way too harsh because I hadn't seen it in a while. Okay, realistically, it's a 5. I might have overreacted when I had rewatched it after a
That
couple
was
years.
5 years ago, to be fair. Like I
Really?
just saw it. Like your review was 5 years ago.
Okay, that might have been very extreme on my part, but it's a 5 out of 10 for me. Yeah, this feels like if you're gonna put on Shrek now, like this is like the meme where it's like we have Shrek at home. This is Shrek the Third. Also, like when you have like the climax in the second movie where it's like the far, far away battle versus this where it's just like in a theater and then there's just like the thing that falls on him. It's just whatever.
Yeah, the thing that falls on him is not
He's just
that.
like, "Mommy," and then which by the way they stole from Hook. But yeah, definitely my least favorite of the whole 6.
Okay, it's also my least favorite, but I look at it more favorably than you guys apparently. I kind of think that some of the jokes and some of the performances level it up a little bit for me when it comes to like some of the things that I like the least. I'm just going towards the fact that I had fun. You know, I had a really good time watching it, so I will give it a 7.
I think the only thing that redeems it is a somebody better be dying. I'm dying.
It's so good. It's like there is some really good moments in this movie. Like that whole dying scene is super funny. The John Krasinski bullying Justin Timberlake is amazing. Like there's a couple of scenes here that really really made me like this movie watching it now. And I guess I'm more of a positive guy right now than I was before with
I wonder
movies.
what did the critics say? Oh, this one has 41%.
Oh,
as
great.
opposed to like 95 for the first 2. So that's like not great.
Are you guys ready for oh my god, Gal, do you want to introduce this one? It's such a long title.
Shrek Forever After. The marketing was called Shrek Forever After: The Final Chapter, from 2010.
By the way, this is the only decent poster I found. And I think it's a DVD 3D poster. And I hate it so much. Just thought I say that. It's such a bad poster.
So in this one, we find out that we open with like a flashback of the day that Shrek saved Fiona, where her parents were about to sign off the kingdom to Rumpelstiltskin in order to get her back. And then right as they're about to sign, they're like, the princess has been saved. And that's how like Shrek created the villain of Rumpelstiltskin. And then Shrek's like tired of not being a scary ogre. So he's like, I want to be an ogre for a day. And he's like, fine, I have to take away a day from existence. And he's like, whatever. And then he finds out that he took away the day he was born. And everything's changed now. It's like, it's kind of like the Avengers Endgame of the Shrek universe, because he's like in a new universe now, and he was never born, and there's an ogre resistance against the tyrannical far, far away.
Yeah, it's the Back to the Future 2 of the Shrek franchise.
Oh wow, yeah.
Basically.
And I love
That's
it.
a good way to put it, actually, yeah.
I actually really like this movie. Like, a lot of people give this movie a bad rep. I've always liked it. Like, I like that it's sort of like trying to feel like the grand Shrek finale, and the plot, I always really enjoyed it.
I'm going to pick on two things now just because I love this movie and I want to rave about it after this. But two things that make zero sense. One, didn't they say I just did all of them together, so maybe that's not how you were supposed to watch it. But in the second one, the fairy godmother makes it clear that her son was like there 5 minutes after Shrek. So he would have saved Fiona 5 minutes after Shrek left. So that's a bit of a weird thing. And also, Shrek never liked being a scary ogre. Like, that was the whole point of the first movie, is that he didn't want to... He had layers. He didn't want to be put in a box as a scary ogre.
Yeah, what are you saying, movie? Stereotypes are not good.
That being said, this movie is so fun. Like, I had such a good time watching this movie. I really like what they did with the story of this alternate universe, and like all these ogres living underground, and Fiona's their like big boss. It's like it becomes sort of like a Matrix Revolution, kind of like Back to the Future 2 thing, and I don't know, it's such a fun movie.
It's good that at least they were trying something a little different, I think, with that one. You know, not just trying to... It felt like they were getting, as much as you could say this one's somewhat formulaic as well, but it felt like as they were getting into it, then it just became like, you know, let's pump out these movies and whatever. Like, people are going to watch them no matter what, kind of thing. With this one, at least they tried to like break the mold a little bit. You could say there's still some issues with it, but at least they tried to do something different, and it was still pretty fun, like throughout. Decent movie overall.
What about the kid at the beginning who's like, do the roar? And he like...
Oh, it's so good.
And then like he's like, okay, roar. And there's like so much going on at the birthday party, and the kid just going, hey, Shrek, do the roar.
I laugh even with you doing it. It's so funny.
I love doing the voices in this franchise. Everyone has like such an iconic voice in these movies. Also, I don't know, just like because they had a bit of darkness in this movie, and they had like also the fun, and they had like, I guess Puss is fat now. Which,
that was so funny.
And there was like Fiona. I don't know, for some reason I loved when I was younger, where it's like Fiona didn't remember him, but they did fall in love anyway. And then they have the Pied Piper scene where he comes in and like forces the ogres to dance by playing Shake Your Booty on the piper.
Forgot about that. Holy, yeah. I haven't seen that one in like so long. I couldn't even tell you. I didn't give them a rewatch.
This one, I will tell you, after rewatching all of them, this one is the one that improved the most, I guess, in my head canon. There's so many of these really funny moments. Dorn, I think it's his name, the guy that plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Mm-hmm.
He is very like mustache twirling evil, but in a funny kids movie.
I don't know why I loved Rumpelstiltskin.
No, yeah, in a funny, like in a good way, like.
It was so menacing, and like the contract thing. That's just so good for a family movie. And yeah, he's actually an animator from DreamWorks. He directed Trolls, actually. So I don't think he's like a known actor, but they got him, and he had a lot of fun with it.
Are you guys ready for the random names that I'm gonna throw at you that are in this movie?
Oh, I know one.
Sure.
Okay, so John Hamm plays Brogan, one of the ogres.
Oh, really?
No way.
Craig Robinson.
He's a chef.
Yeah, plays Cookie, the other
Oh,
Roger.
get it? Because he's the cook.
Yeah. Lake Bell is one of the witches. Kathy Griffin is another one of the witches. Jane Lynch plays Gretchen. I don't remember her.
She's an ogre.
She's an ogre as well.
Wait, I want to say those witches. We're talking about like haunting our dreams here. Oh my god, those witches. They were so freaky. Like when they capture Shrek with their like weird like chains with a thing that bites you. Damn, they were menacing.
They were really menacing. Like also one of the things that I think it didn't scare me as much because I think I was already like 15 when this movie came out. For sure, one of the things that stuck with me rewatching, like the alternate universe donkey and the dragon, they're having like this beautiful moment and you're supposed to buy that they're falling in love again. And then she tries to eat him and it's so funny. I was watching it like by myself on my laptop and I like open mouth laughed at that. And it was...
Isn't there like a lot of slavery imagery in this movie? Because it's like the witches are like taking donkey slave and they're singing I forget the name of the song, but no matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. And they're like, sing it, donkey. And then all the ogres are like pushing the door open. It's actually, it gets kind of dark.
Good.
The whole thing was, like pretty like tyrannical, like all of it, right? Like the witch.
Yeah, he's an awful leader. He's an actual dictator.
Yeah. Legit, like evil. It was a lot more evil, I think, than some of the other past ones, right? Like even some of the other characters, like Farquaad's, like he's like evil, but like
he just wants to steal a woman.
This was next level, yeah. Like
he's an actual asshole.
He's like the Palpatine. Bad. He's the Palpatine of the Shrek franchise.
But he makes it so good when he loses. Like you just feel like you just feel glad that like that little bastard is getting what he deserves.
Yeah, like he has like the goose and he's like, Fifi, get me out of here, and then he like pulls him and he catches him and they're like, victory is ours. I remember being like, thank God. That guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
But like one thing that like got me, I have that feeling also watching like movies like Back to the Future 2 and all that. What happened to all those people, man? Those were such good characters, and I was like, oh my god, are they just all gone now? And some of them appear in the end song, like the ogres.
Oh, they redo "I'm a Believer," but like a newer rock cover.
Yeah, and like the ogres appear, like Craig Robinson and Joe Hamm and all that. They all appear, but it's one of those weird things with like movies like this that you're just like, oh, you just killed all of that reality, didn't you? But yeah, I want to start with scores in this one just because I think again it's gonna be the highest. I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. It was so funny, and I think it's the one that grew the most in this rewatch.
Yeah, this one I think for me, it's definitely better than the last one before. So I'd probably give it like a 7, because at least they were trying to do something different. You know, it didn't reach the highs of like, you know, the past of the franchise, but it was at least a valiant effort, and they're trying to do something different with it. And I always appreciate that a lot more sometimes than just like pumping out the same formula.
Yeah, it's not as good as 1 and 2, but I actually really like Shrek Forever After. So I'm gonna ditto Alan's rating on this one.
Really? Great.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy for that.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next one actually came out the year after, which I don't know how the hell they did that, from an animated studio perspective. But it's Puss in Boots 1. Gal, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Puss in Boots?
It's the origin of Puss in Boots and how he got his boots. And he's homies with Humpty Dumpty, and they do robberies together, but he kind of doesn't want to, but he still goes on another robbery. And they have to steal the golden egg from the golden goose from the place where you get to where you go from the beanstalk. I don't know what it's called. Giant Land, something like that. And yeah, and it's got Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, also Billy Bob Thornton, Amy Sedaris, Guillermo del Toro.
Like Guillermo del Toro did a voice in this?
Yeah, he's the mustache man. I don't remember who that is.
That's like every man character.
This movie is, I think, my biggest gap in the franchise. I either never watched it or I only watched bits and pieces of this one because I honestly don't even remember like the story at all, which is weird because it's one of the more newer ones. So
To be fair to you, it came out 11 years ago.
I guess
You're what, in your 20s? You're not like, I'm going to Puss in Boots. To be fair, I was 20 years old going to see The Last Wish in theaters. But I remember watching this one, I think the day it came out. And I love the animation, actually. Like, the beginning, there's like this dance-off, and I thought it was beautifully animated. The whole, like, Mexican cities. And Antonio Banderas and Salma Hayek are both great. And there's like a little bit like mysteriousness in the beginning where they're both trying to steal from each other.
Yeah, they're trying to thief. Oh.
They're trying to thief. That's not a verb. That's going to haunt me.
Yeah, that is.
It's going to come back in one of the next episodes. Alan's just going to be like, don't thief. But yeah, I actually really enjoy this one. And it's got a little bit of like good physical humor, even though, again, I don't think it's better than the first couple Shreks. Is still a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a second that. Like it's a pretty good entry in the Shrekiverse, as it were. I also only watched it for the first time 2 weeks ago, or like a week and a half ago. Like I didn't catch it until I had to, basically, until I was contractually obligated to watch it for this show. And
I missed that contract.
The Rumpelstiltskin contract.
Yeah, it's one of the Rumpelstiltskin contracts that I signed. And I'm glad I watched it. It was a really fun movie. It has like a really fun animated Western vibe to it, because it takes place in like the Mexican desert and all that, and like in like these Mexican towns that it really has like this Western vibe. And the director, which is the same director from all the other Shrek movies, Chris Miller, he plays with that really well, like with some of the tropes from the Western genre. Like there's
Where
even
Puss
like
is in the tumbleweed.
tumbleweed, like a really cool tumbleweed reference when it's like about to be a duo, and
Awesome.
yeah, it's really well like directed. Like I really like the visuals in this movie. Like that's the biggest takeaway from it, I guess. And Antonio Banderas is just fantastic as Puss in Boots.
Yeah, and the story is kind of standard, but it's done in a really fun way. I also, watching it again, I loved Billy Bob Thornton as Jack from like Jack and Jill. And this is like, look, when I watched it for the first time, I was 9. But now I've seen Billy Bob Thornton in like Fargo, where he's a straight up serial killer. And to now see him do this, where he's like, those beans aren't leaving my arms. And he's like locking up the beans in a chest in his arm. So he just has like a stump for an arm because it's a chest. It was fun.
Story-wise, I will say, yeah, it is a little bit cliche, but like this story has so many twists and turns. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched it, but it does keep you on your toes. Very lightly so, but it does. So since James hasn't watched this one, I honestly recommend you would do. Like it's a good.
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it.
Like it's a good, like Sunday night movie that you just throw
Exactly.
in. Like I think it's on Netflix. Maybe I might be wrong about that. So you just throw it in, like watch it, and it's a pretty fun time. I will go 7.5. How about you, Gal?
Same thing.
Great. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Alan, most of our ratings have been the same, if not like
Yeah.
all of them.
Except for Shrek the Third, that I'm the only person in the world that
Oh,
likes
right.
that
Yeah,
movie.
you gave it higher than me. Oh, my God.
Okay, so now we actually have a new movie to talk about that didn't come out 10 years ago. So, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out a couple of months back. I think in November, if I'm
No,
not
it was like around Christmas time.
December. Okay,
Yeah.
so it came out in December, and it came out as a pretty strong Oscar contender for this year, which is crazy. I never thought a Puss in Boots movie would be even in consideration for something like that, but it's
God.
most people's second pick and some people's first pick for best animated movie of the year. And let's talk about it. James, did you see that one?
Yeah. The new one I saw, so I figured I was missing a few stuff from the first one because there was some backstory I think I was missing.
Not a
out.
lot, honestly, like story-wise.
It's just the only thing you're missing is Puss, Kitty, they're in love. That's all you need to know.
But it was good. Even though like I figured there was probably something behind the scenes because they obviously talked about like the past. You just like you knew anyways, so you didn't like need to have the backstory. So I think it was almost better because then I didn't know what was going on and I realized like their kind of relationship from the past. But this one I really liked. I really liked this movie, obviously being more fresh in my mind. This one was even just right from the beginning, one of the maybe like best like intros like for action wise. And even just throughout the movie, I think like the action in this one was like absolutely stellar, like constant, like something going on, always like really like keeping me engaged in it. And yeah, just like the whole concept of like Puss is on his final life of the 9 lives, and he starts to get finally like fear into him, where before he was more like, you know, this rogue like badass cat. And I like that whole like different dynamic that it brought to the film.
Yeah, that's an exploration that they definitely did not do in the first Puss in Boots movie. That just turns Antonio Banderas' character into like such a more real thing, which is so weird because you're talking about a talking cat that has a sword. So like how real can that get? But it gets really real. Like the emotional beats he goes through in this movie are actually genuine and they actually get you, and they're like, oh my god, like I'm scared for this cat. I know like he's having like anxiety attacks in the middle of the movie, which is like just like why are you doing that to me? I don't need that right now.
They say this all the time with franchises. It's like the deconstruction of the classic myth or whatever. And that's what they do to Puss. Like they do it a little on the nose in the beginning where he goes, the legend will never die, and then the bell falls on him.
That's so funny though.
But it's like it's so deep because he has to shed his massive ego in order to become the better, I don't want to say the better man, the better cat, and live his life. But yeah, can we talk about that song, Who Is Your Favorite Fearless Hero? How catchy is that?
It's a good one. That was a good song for the movie for sure.
Can we talk about the best part of this movie, which is clearly Wagner Moura as the wolf, or I guess Death.
That was
intense. Scary. Right? I'm not crazy. That was legit scary.
That was perfect. Every time like he made an appearance and it was like that, like it was like that like,
the whistle
song, like, in the background.
Yeah.
The whistle or whatever.
I was shitting my pants every single time.
That whistle also like reminded me of, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Wire, but like so one of the characters, he's like one of the like badass like gangsters. And every time he would like kind of show up, there was almost like someone would like whistle and like they'd be like, Omar coming.
Oh, it's Michael K. Williams, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that kind of like reminded me of that. And I thought it was just so good, like well done. It was perfect though, because it instantly spiked like the feeling that you get, because you associated like Puss's fear with when he first saw the wolf and like realized like, oh shit, I can die, and like this hair stuck up in his like body for like the first time. Then that you just got that feeling like throughout the whole movie anytime that like you heard that sound, and I thought that was like perfect. It was so good.
And the moments they choose to put that in there are so perfect too, because they come always out of nowhere. You're never prepared from when that happens, and when it does, you're right there with Puss. Like I said, like you're shitting your pants. Like you're like, no, get this wolf out of here. Put him in another movie. This is a kid's movie. I don't know what he's doing here.
Puss and the wolf have 2 fight scenes where just like the sword play and the way they're so flexible with the animation, because it's like it's storybook instead of like realism, so they can play around with the frame rates, they can play around with how fast the camera moves and still make it like cartoony but still cool. And so I don't know, just the sword play and the action, the way like the wolf runs after him and then he has to like the swords like bend on each other. It's just so good, those 2 sword fights that they have.
I think this is. Go ahead, James. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just like those scenes, the way like on top of just the fighting, like all the camera work, like the camera work, I guess, you know, it's animated, but the way it like, you know, it could like zoom around, or it comes in fast, or it takes a bigger shot out. Like they did so much variation of that. it was like, you know,
There's
visual.
even one moment where the wolf just goes like muy bien, and he like puts his two blades together and like spins it around to make one sword. I don't know why, just like this small moment is so amazing in this movie.
Those like sickles or whatever he has, those are so
Yeah.
cool. That was a cool thing too. Yeah, like death. It's exactly it. Like perfect. Like that was death coming for him.
What I want to say about this is like I'm so glad that they made the choice to change the animation style to the one that that's more similar, I guess, to Spider-Verse that just came out a couple of
The
years back.
Pussverse.
I'm so glad that they did it because, like Gal said, it allowed them to bring the action to the next level. The action in this movie, like you guys said, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here, but like it's so good. It has no right being this good. Like it's a Puss in Boots movie. I don't look. I love that it is this good, but this movie has no right being as good as it is.
I know. Also, John Mulaney was so great. Honestly, like he was being a very one-note villain. Like morals suck. I want ultimate power or whatever. But
he's
I don't
so
know.
funny.
It just worked because it was John Mulaney. There's a part where where they're on the star for the first time, and he goes to Kitty and he's like, "Death is coming for me," and he goes, "I've been called many things, but never death. I like it." And this is.
He's so funny. I like John Mulaney in everything, so maybe I'm biased, but he just cracked me up in this movie. And yeah, it was basically John Mulaney. Like I saw that guy, but I was just seeing John Mulaney.
Why was he kind of like the Donald Trump of the Puss in Boot of the Shrek universe?
That's right.
He was like a guy who owns a business empire and hates morals.
Also, Salma Hayek, like she got an upgrade in this movie, both in character development and in like her performance. She did great as Kitty Softballs in this movie. Like I just wanted to shout her name. Also in the same line, but not really because she wasn't in the last one, Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh in everything, so I guess I'm biased again. But I even liked her in the train wreck of what was that movie I hated from last year, Gal?
It was Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling.
We don't talk about that.
Oh.
Like, yeah, she was good. She was trying to save it, and she
was
couldn't.
trying to save it. She couldn't. But she's so funny and sweet, and she has like this B storyline that you really care about. Like when they introduced them, I was like, oh, this is gonna be one of those B storylines that you really don't connect with, and you just want to get back to Puss. Totally wrong. Like that storyline really works, especially because of her acting and Olivia Colman's acting.
Why
as
was
her
Olivia
mom.
Colman so good as this? Like you can throw her in anywhere, and she's
Yeah.
just perfect.
Ray Winston as well as Papa Bear, and Samson Kayo as Baby Bear.
Samson Kayo is great. I saw him in the show. What's it called? Our Flag Means Death, which is like created by and starring Taika Waititi, and he's really good in that. I believe that's what he's from.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never saw that. I might have to.
that's like the only thing he's known from. But yeah, Olivia Colman was great, and Harvey Guillén also was.
Yeah.
He was kind of discount Olaf. I don't know. I've always made that connection with their voices, but he's a lot of fun.
But emotion-wise, it's crazy. Like that the most emotional thing is for sure like the anxiety and all that comes from the relationship between Puss and Death, literally and actual death. But all of the other beats hit emotionally, like Kitty Softballs and her relationship with Puss, the whole bear family dynamic that really kills you at the end. Like that scene almost got me crying, like the one, and I'm not gonna spoil it because it's a new movie, but with the bear family in the end.
Where they talk about like drinking your porridge and leaving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that one, like that was
good. Yeah, I like.
yeah, and also like Harvey Guillén as Perito, like he was this little like a ball of. Like I don't know, man. He was so cute, and the fact that he fought.
the good soul.
I always get so confused whenever movies do this. Like even like Donkey with Donkey, and then it's like Perito. His name is just dog. Like what if my name was human? Would I be okay with that?
No,
It's
but
also like pretty common in Spanish cultures. Like everybody gets like a nickname kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is called their name. They're all like nicknames. So
So yeah, are you guys ready to give scores? I'm excited for this one. James, do you want to start?
I'll fire it off. I really like this one. I think I'm gonna go with. I'm still not gonna give it a 10, although I really liked it. But I think it's like a 8.5, 9 for sure, at least for me. It's really I like it a lot. So yeah, like I'd probably give it a solid 9 for sure.
I'd say 8, 8.5. It's definitely DreamWorks' best movie since the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and I kind of thought they were just like greenlighting it for the sake of adding another Shrek IP movie.
They probably
but it's
were.
actually one of but they actually made it one of the best DreamWorks movies of the last 10 years, so it worked out well.
Okay, I think I'm being extra positive in this episode, but I don't care. I love this movie. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh my God.
It's my favorite animated movie of the year. Pinocchio was a heart-wrenching movie, and so of course I had more fun watching Puss in Boots. But just on a fun scale, I had a lot of fun watching this movie, and it's definitely my favorite animated movie of the year. And
I remember like 20 minutes in, I was like, is this better than the first one so far? And then like 10 minutes later, I was like, it's better than the first Puss in Boots.
no, for sure. We're gonna get into our Shrek rankings. Or Shrankings in a bit.
Shrankings.
But
love that.
let's just say this one is pretty high. I love this movie so much. And I already want to watch it again, even though I watched it like less than a week ago. I already want to watch it again for sure. And on our Golden Slice Award, I actually voted for it instead of Pinocchio.
It's, you know what, the action is pretty amazing, and if you like those kind of movies, are more engaging. Like, well, not to say more engaging, but just a different kind of engagement level with like so much fighting and so much good like emotion as well behind it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it was definitely like they did it for the bad guys. Also, this style. I hope they keep the regular style for Kung Fu Panda 4. But, you know, I'll have an open mind if they choose to do this kind of animation style again.
And I know this is not really spoilers, but like they teased Shrek 5 in the end. What are you guys' opinions on that?
I thought it was a really forced scene, but I don't know. I feel like in a couple years they'll probably be like...
But if it's the same creative team as these guys, why not, right?
I still thought it was kind of a forced scene, but we'll see. We'll see.
No, I'm talking about like if the same guys that write it and directed this movie, if they wrote and directed Shrek 5, that's a whole other level of excitement.
We have to see. We'll have to like give me the trailer and then I'll decide. But if it's the same team, then sure.
Because then the franchise got bought out, right? The Shrek franchise got bought out by Disney or something from.
No, it was Universal bought all of DreamWorks, and now it was like Chris Meledandri, who's like the head of the Illumination, and he was like, okay, we want to reboot Shrek, but they haven't really made a comment around if they want to do Shrek 5. I don't mean reboot like
I think
same
there's
continuity.
a very like substantiated rumor in Hollywood right now that it's been written, and they're just waiting to see a little bit on how Puss in Boots 2 did before they greenlit it.
Yeah, and also this was the director who did The Croods 2, which was a letdown for me. But like he definitely stepped up his game.
I never watched The Croods 2, so I wouldn't know.
You should only watch the first Croods. First Croods is actually good. So Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon. They have 3 amazing franchises, DreamWorks. Like, holy shit.
They do. They really do. They just need to not screw it up now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like right now, Disney is the one that needs to catch up with animation.
Yeah, they did their whole announcement where it's like, we're leaning into our existing properties. And I'm like, why? Like, I get that they're scared because Strange World didn't do well. Just market your movies better or write better movies instead of doing fucking 2 movies that are considered the Toy Story finale and then another one.
Yeah. Okay, are you guys ready for the... What did I call it before? The
Shranking.
The Shrankings?
The Shranking next door.
The Shrankings. Okay, James, let's start with you, our estimated guest.
Top to bottom, I guess, from 1 to the end.
Bottom to top.
Yeah. Well, we know the bottom one because I haven't watched it, so it's at the bottom. It's in the NA category, so the first Puss in Boots is in the NA category. But yeah, so if I had to rank them, I'd go Shrek 1 for sure, number 1, and then probably Shrek 2, and then this the new Puss in Boots Last Wish. And then yeah, what would it be? I guess Forever After. That's the fourth one.
Yeah.
And then 3.
Over Puss. Wait, Shrek 4 over Puss. Oh no,
He didn't watch
It was the
Puss.
opposite.
No, he didn't watch Puss, so it's out of the
Wait, no,
list.
did you put Shrek Forever After higher than Puss in Boots 2 or lower?
No, Puss in Boots 2 was the third one.
Third,
Okay.
or third on my list. Yeah, sorry. Puss in Boots 2 is third on the list. Yeah, yeah. And then yeah, Forever After, and
Okay, I'll go.
The NA category gets this.
I'll go 6, Shrek the Third. Then 5 and 4 is a little bit interchangeable. Puss in Boots and Shrek Forever After. And then number 3 is Puss in Boots The Last Wish. 2 is Shrek. 1 is Shrek 2.
Okay, we have similar lists, but not really. My 6th is your guys' least favorite, is my least favorite, is Shrek the Third.
Okay.
My 5th is Puss in Boots 1. My 4th is Shrek Forever After. My 3rd is the first Shrek, which is gonna get me a lot of hate, I think.
Definitely.
Listen, I love my top 3 a lot.
Wait, I want to hear what number 2 and 1 is because now I'm really in suspense.
Now I'm intrigued.
I'm like,
Number 2 is Puss in Boots The Last Wish,
Oh.
and number 1 is Shrek 2.
I thought you were going to put Puss at number 1 now.
Okay. That's not unreasonable.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
I like, I think, overall nostalgia-wise, yes, I love Shrek. But I think in this rewatch, I think having the experience of watching all of them in a row really gave me like a different perspective, I guess. And it gave me more of appreciation of like just how good a movie Shrek 2 is. Like, because it wasn't my favorite before. My favorite before was the first one. And how ridiculously good Puss in Boots 2 is, which again has no right being this good. I love that it is this good, but I don't like it being this good.
Imagine if they had a deleted scenes of all the villains dying and John Cleese as the frog meeting Wagner Moura as death, and he's just like, LOL, your fault. What can I do?
Okay, go.
decent anything to do.
So that's it. That's our Shrekathon episode. Finally,
Rankings there.
our Shrankings were slightly
Spectacular.
different. James, where can people find you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh no, you're welcome. Happy to join you guys. I know I've been listening to all your other episodes and keeping up with it. So yeah. No, happy to join. Glad to be on. And if people want to follow and learn more and get more film content, we're at First Reviews. That's one SD Reviews. It's at the bottom.
Yeah, Instagram,
There we go.
YouTube, everything.
YouTube, yeah.
Just we have a link to all of them on there. So
And also,
And a business card. You have a business card
I have a business card over there.
that I had in my car for the longest time.
cool.
I just like left it there.
The business
Nice.
card, it's only official if you have a business card, right? So,
Yeah.
That's fair. And you can always find us at at Film Fanatics Pod on TikTok and Instagram, and of course on YouTube, where you're most likely watching this. You can find Gal at Film Toppings as well.
That's right.
And stay tuned for the Golden Slice Awards.
Up very soon.
Very soon. We're working tirelessly on it. I cannot edit things anymore. I'm dying.
Props.
And but it's an exciting time for Film Fanatics Pod and Film Toppings, and we're happy to have such guests as James joining us, who also, spoiler alert, he presented one of the categories for us in the Golden Slice, so thank you for that as well.
no problem. Happy to.
And that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys soon. I'm Alan.
And I'm Gal. Goodbye.
Film Fanatics. From the silver screen to your earphones with Alan Azulay and Gal Balaban.